The Echo of Light in the Shadows of Divided Realms. Chapter 6. The Dawn of Hope. After a long moment of silence in the palace hall, where even the echo of the distant sea had faded, Kaelin Arkwright felt a delicate twinge, scented with the fragrance of rain-soaked earth. The first rays of sunlight seeped through the gaps in the high window, gently embracing the ancient stones as if restoring warmth to them after a long, dark night. The trio, Kaelin, Lana, and Felix, stood amidst the partially ruined remains of the palace. Lana sipped hurriedly from a small teapot they had carried with them from their cabin in the graveyard district. The scent of thyme mixed with mint drifted through the tender morning breeze, allowing Hope a brief breath. She took a small dose of rest after a long journey of exhaustion. Felix looked down at his slightly trembling hands, then took a deep breath, as if contemplating the healing of a long-ignored internal wound. In a voice dripping with gratitude, he said, "My body no longer revolts against me. Pain is no longer my master." Kaelin caught the faint spark in his friend's eyes and gently took his hand, whispering, "You've returned to us from the darkest folds. We won't lose you again." A tender look passed between Kaelin and Lana, as though their silence condensed years of fear and hope. Their hearts now united in one desire, to build a future where the Dark Elite's magic could never cast its shadow again. Lana, drawing hazy lines with her fingertips on a cracked wall, said, "Even these wounded walls hold something worth preserving. We won't rebuild the palace as it was. We'll turn it into a sanctuary for survivors, a home for all, without chains of class or magic." The oak trees surrounding the palace swayed gently in a warm breeze, as if applauding the vision. Kaelin stepped forward, touching a scratch on the old bark, and said, while examining it, "This place has witnessed bitter tales, but tomorrow it might hear new songs. Let's preserve it, if we can." As the last remnants of darkness faded from the horizon, waves of people from all classes emerged from the corridors. The shadow folk, dragging remnants of the dark days behind them, offered trembling smiles to the trio. Workers and farmers, with fists shaped by struggle, carried sacks of tools, ready to build bridges, barriers, and wooden homes. Merchants and artisans laid out small carpets for mobile workshops that produced cloth, utensils, and simple tools. A few former feltmen ascended the hill to help lift heavy stones and continue roofing damaged shelters. In this gathering, there was only one will, emerging from thousands who were once divided by fear and hierarchy. Their eyes turned toward Kaelin, standing on a makeshift wooden platform, their faces lit with smiles woven tightly with hope. Kaelin spoke aloud, his voice strong yet gentle at its core. "Today marks the dawn of a new era. Never again will magic be used to shackle souls. Our magic will be for healing and learning, for all, not to stifle their dreams." Cries of fervor erupted in every direction. The open hall rang with voices of determination and smiles too genuine to be hidden by tears. After organizing the workers and assigning tasks, Felix asked Kaelin and Alana for a moment alone to resolve one final matter. He led them to a small wing in the palace's southern wing, once used to imprison members of the shadow folk. There, they found Nira. Her face looked worn from sleepless nights, but her eyes still glimmered with a shy light. Within moments, she collapsed into Kaelin's arms. Her eyelids fluttered against his forehead in a silence that merged joy with terror, as if she couldn't believe her brother had truly come to rescue her. A soft slap to his cheek silenced his words, and as she spoke through urgent sobs, Kaelin embraced her tightly and pressed a longing kiss to her brow. "I wished you'd come to me sooner," Nira said, trembling. "I feared you had forgotten me." She looked up at him with tender eyes. He stroked her hair and replied in a low voice, stitching together a sliver of lost safety. "I never forgot you, not for a moment. I sang for you in my dreams, songs I wrote by candlelight, but the Lord's sorcerers locked every gate of time, hoping I would. Tears of quiet gratitude welled up in her eyes. I promise to be part of all that heals this land, but I fear I may burden you. He kissed her forehead again and said, "The weight of your love will never grow old. Go now, with hope in your heart. Our home is open to all." Felix, who had briefly stepped away, returned with a small bowl of bitter red tea. He handed it to Kaylin and whispered, "You must taste victory, and this is a special brew. Leaves grown in the shadow groves to cool hearts still aflame." Kaylin smiled as he took it, then murmured, "Hope always comes at a cost, but it tastes sweeter when we pass through fire together." They all emerged into the courtyard, still covered in the ashes of last night's fire. A few light raindrops fell from the sky, extinguishing the final embers like a fleeting flash in everyone's eyes. All the people of every class approached the last standing palace. They walked toward a wild rose garden, its birds singing joyfully overhead. Some hung red cloths as symbols of the blood that nourished this land. Others placed pink stones around the broken ministers' halls, hoping they would birth natural herbs and plants. Kaylin stood on a wooden bridge connecting the old wing to the garden's courtyard. He held Niara's small hand as she gently gripped his. He looked at her radiant face, like a star newly born over the graveyard district, and promised to build her a school atop the hill, where the flame of knowledge would shine with every child who entered. Lana joined Kaylin and Felix, producing a luxurious strand of unburnt blue silk, saying with delicate pride, "This thread comes from the garments of the lords who once believed in their power. I'll repurpose it into a fabric of transparency, one that teaches every girl and boy the art of weaving and spinning, so they learn the strength of self-reliance." Kaylin and Felix exchanged a glance filled with admiration for the quiet resilience etched in their faces. Then Felix turned to the horizon and spoke, his voice tinged with sorrow for the past and hope for what lies ahead. "We'll continue to harvest the best from this world, whether it be a dream or an idea, until this land can carry all dreams within it." As his words settled, the sky smiled. A faint rainbow split the clouds, reflecting the same blue silk in Lana's hand. The horizon shimmered, an omen that the coming seasons would bloom in brighter colors. Breath returned to the freshly restored palace hall, as though life itself had come to dance along the new walls. Children from every district gathered to sing and perform on a small wooden stage in the garden's heart. Kaylin stepped onto the platform, standing beside the strands of silk adorned with roses and falling stars. He held Nira's little hand in his, placing his other hand over his heart as he raised his gaze to the crowd, saying tenderly, "This is the end of the old road and the beginning of a new chapter written by freeing our hearts. We will never again let the shadows of sorcery frighten us. I promise you, hope will keep beating in your chests just as it beats in mine now." Felix stepped beside him and whispered, reflecting both joy and awe, "The deepest magic in this land is simply learning to love it." Kaylin nodded, then looked at Lana with a mixture of courage and tenderness, saying in a voice echoing pride and warmth, "And I now know your light will never fade, no matter how heavy the clouds." Her smile refused to be forgotten. Then the bright sun illuminated the palace wing, and every face glowed brighter, as though they all bore witness to a spirit returning to stones long bereft of it. At that moment, while the sound of drums and tambourines marched into the horizon, the trio understood that their mission had not ended, but had only just begun. Kaylin would continue building schools and roads, ensuring that no magic would ever shackle anyone again. Lana would open a workshop for weaving and free education for girls, dedicating her silk to liberty and life. Felix would heal the scars of those who had been enslaved to labor, establishing a small clinic using herbs, not spells. The footsteps slowly faded into the final sunset, and all who had come knew this was not a farewell, but a renewed journey rising from the ruins of injustice. The end. We've broken the chains of magic and status, but we're still bound by time, and time will always be our next challenge as we chase the dreams that await us.